Welcome back to the Bluegrass on this melancholy August day. And you might say, Stonnie, why are you saying it's a melancholy day? Well, it's kind of a happy, sad day to me. I'm in a state of conflicted emotions, I guess you could say. On the one hand, listen, my 22-year-old son is going off. He's in the Army and he's going off for his last year of college up in New York, and I'm very proud of him. And, you know, of course, that's why we got him this awesome adventure van. But on the other hand, I'm just kind of sad because children grow up so fast, you know, and, you know, his last year of college, and next year he's going to be stationed somewhere, and I don't know. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is this awesome adventure van. So people that follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, they're always commenting, hey Stonnie, do a build video series, do a build video series. And so this is a, you know, this is kind of a little teaser for a build series. If you guys want to see every aspect of how this van was built and how much each step cost and how much labor went into it and you know, mental work, then just comment below. Tell me what you want to know, and I'll you know, and I'll make a video about each individual element. Okay, but basically what we're working with here, guys, is my son wanted a van so him and his buddies could, you know, go camping and adventuring and go have a good time. So we found him a 2010 Ford E350 with the 5.4 motor with 30,000 miles on it. We had to go all the way to Texas to find one because it's really, you know, it's hard to find one that doesn't have any rust on it. But now look, they don't make them anymore, and so when you do find one, you just have to buy it. There's no negotiating, okay? As soon as you negotiate and hang up the phone, you know, you'll call back and like, hey, but aren't you supposed to like give me a better price? They're like, no, it's already sold, okay? So that's the number one rule I can give you, right? If you find a nice rust-free E350, buy it right then, no matter what it costs. And I'm happy to tell you what it cost and how I got it shipped up here and how I got ripped off on both elements from my perspective. If you want to know, just post in the comments below. I'll make a separate video. All right, so we got it. And I was like, hey, Nicholas, what do you want to do with it? And he said, well, you know, of course, I want to make it look cool, and I want to be able to go wherever I want to go. So we contacted this fella from, where did he? Asheville, North Carolina. He runs a company called UJoint Offroad, and he specializes in heavy-duty conversions for Econoline vans. And so some of you down will probably be familiar with Ford vans that are four-wheel drive. Most of those were made by Quigley, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? If you don't need a heavy-duty conversion, those are cool. But like if you want a van you can really rock and roll in, and you know that it's going to hold up over time, even if you need to pull some stuff or do some off-roading, then this UJoint company really does a pretty good job. Now, when Nicholas sent it off, of course, he checked every, look at this, he checked every single box on the upgrades packages, right? And I'll also tell you what all we got and how expensive it was if you really want to know. Like I said, just comment below. All right, but just a quick overview. One of the things we had to have, because we're always out and about, like on the farm or in the hills here in Kentucky, or driving back and forth through, you know, a lot of deer country on the way to New York, we wanted a nice bumper that would give us some protection against hitting deer, you know. Now this thing sits off the ground pretty high, but we wanted to go ahead and protect the radiator assembly and the lights. So we got bumpers front and back from Luminess, okay? And so if you're going to get Luminess bumpers, you got to get hella lights because those are the best lights. And of course, we got a Warn winch. And we have onboard air. So Nicholas can fill tires or use, you know, his air hose from the front of the vehicle or the back. And then when they did the four-wheel drive conversion, they did these progressive springs. And then this is a Dana 60, did he? With a limited slip differential, and that's super heavy duty, so that's awesome. The tires, these tires are BF Goodrich KM3s, right, Diddy? I run KM2s on my Bronco because, well, that's just what they had when they came out, and I've always loved, I run Michelin or BF Goodrich tires only, and guys, I'm pretty tough on tires. I actually have, after Nicholas got these, I put these tires on my farm truck, and listen, it's all over eastern Kentucky with tons of rocks and you know, low traction environments, and it does great. These are Method wheels, right, Diddy? And those are really cool. All right, then we got some cool stuff added to it just to make it look good. Now, some of the stuff they did at UJoint, and then I've got a flash drive, and this is also featured, right, on one of their build threads, Diddy? Okay, so you guys can see this on UJoint Offroad's website. Nicholas and I added tow mirrors. We soundproofed the whole thing front to back. We put an Alpine stereo in there. That's super awesome with 6 Alpine speakers, doors, passenger side and rear doors. And we put a kicker subwoofer under the passenger side. We'll show you all that when we go for the inside tour. Come around here on the back, cameraman. Now back here, again, we went with the Luminess full-size spare BF Goodrich tire method wheel and the Luminess swing outs. Okay. Now the one thing we haven't decided yet, okay, is about Luminess sells a box right here, but we're kind of looking for maybe a little bit different kind of box storage options. But as we're looking, kind of a Luminess is starting to edge ahead. So we're probably going to end up putting a Luminess. What do they call that box, Diddy?
Deluxe box.
The deluxe box on the back. All right, and then we're going to turn the van around so I can show you some of the stuff Diddy and I did on the inside. But this right here, guys, is this is what we've been working on for a long time, right? Trying to figure out how we were going to do the storage in the back. So we'll turn the van around because of where the sun is setting, and we'll show you this rack that we fabricated over the last couple of weeks. All right, so we shooed the dogs away and I turned the van around so we could show you our cool modular storage system that we built. But let me show you another reason I like this Luminess stuff. Luminess does a really good job of building high quality products that are super well thought out. And so like right here, when you have this big heavy tire on, if you're parked at any kind of an incline, then this would keep coming back and hitting your door or hitting you, you know. So they have a little, look, a little pin. And a little hole, and you just put the pin in the hole and it locks your spare tire carrier out of the way. Ain't that cool? All right. So this is, and I'll put a lot of pictures on here because with the cooler, you can't see all the exactly cool stuff about this rack, but it took us a long time. We looked on Expedition Portal and a lot of various overlanding groups and see how people were doing their storage. We wanted something lightweight, something that could double as a table, and something that could be you know, that we could have like a drawer system in minus the drawers, because where Nicholas goes to school, he doesn't have a place, like if he wanted to haul something, he doesn't really have a place where he could store some drawers, you know, okay? So what we did was we built an aluminum frame, and then on the aluminum frame, we built sliding racks. See what I'm saying? So this is plywood. And then we have vinyl flooring cut for the top, so it should be real nice and durable. And this is aluminum C-channel tracks. And now if Nicholas needs to, you know, to haul something really big, then he can just pull this whole thing out. Now, what we like about the bottom one, you know, because what I was thinking is like if you got your buddies with you and you're going to get your cooler out and maybe do a little grilling or something, you need a table. But Nicholas was like, well, Dad, buddies, gear, again, he doesn't have much in the way of storage space at school, so he's like, I want to kind of keep my van contents to a minimum, you know. So we decided to make a pull-out slide in the back of the modular storage system so that it becomes a table. Ha! I mean, isn't that awesome? Look, so now he can like, for example, he's a big tea drinker, you know. He likes to drink tea. He likes to drink tea in the mornings, you know. Okay, so he can come out here and he can, you know, boil a little tea in his little teapot, right? And then we've got him all kinds of various tea cups that he can share with his friends. But look at that. Isn't that the most awesome thing you've ever seen in your life? Super neat, super awesome. Now up here, oh no, Nicholas is gonna be mad at me because I knocked over his teapot. All right, we'll move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, now up in here, see, this is very sturdy, see? You might not notice it, but I have a square tubing, square steel tubing underneath this platform so that it has a lot of structural rigidity. All right, now up here, Nicholas bought a cool Pelican cooler. I can show you that. Hey, Daddy, come get this cooler out. So I'm going to set this out because I want to show you one of my, what I feel like, crowning achievements in terms of the modular rack system, which is, ta-da! Look, see this rack, which is perfect for holding coolers or you know, backpacks, duffel bags, whatever. If you need it out of the way, it's hinged, so you can just go up. Now, that gives you this much storage. Now, say, so for example, if Nicholas decided that he wanted to get, I don't know, maybe a, watch out, dog. Maybe he wanted to get a new piece of furniture for his friends in town or something. He can just pull the top shelf out, and then he has all that space. Now tell me that's not awesome. We worked and worked and worked and worked on that, and we did it, and then we had to do it again and again and again. Look, let me show you something even more awesome. There are very few advantages in the world to being a smaller fella. One of them is, of course, that you live longer, so that's super cool. But the other is that you can get comfortable and sleep in a lot smaller space. So look, if Nicholas wants to sleep under the stars in his van, right? He just takes the lower level and pulls it out, which is a table when you need it to be a table, but it's a sleeping platform. Watch out, dog. It's a sleeping platform whenever you're not getting mauled by dogs. What? What do you want? You want to get up here? Come on, nerd. Yeah, if you do have dogs, the neat thing about the way we've got the floor designed, go on, nerd, get out of there, is that this vinyl, look, it's super durable. And it's also very reasonably priced. So if something was to happen to it, you just pop it up and put another piece in, you know. But look at that, ain't that cool? And then how we get the van clean. Listen, when you have as many dogs as I, you get pretty creative about, you know, keeping things clean, right? So we've got him a little electric blower. And so instead of coming in here and trying to vacuum out, because that's the one problem with this van, is this got like a kind of a porous, not porous, what do you call it? Rough rubber flooring. And so like dirt gets in there, it won't come out, you know. But we just take the electric blower and we just start at the front and we blow everything off. And then this right here, this stuff here, guys, I mean, it's designed to be walked on every day, you know. So it's never going to get walked on enough in the van to tear up. So out of all the things that Nicholas and I did in the van, we soundproofed it. We put in an awesome stereo. I will turn the stereo on when we go to do the driving test with it. So it's super quiet because we soundproofed it. Hey, top to bottom, didn't we, Diddy? I mean, we put a lot of soundproofing on here. Put a cool stereo in there, put the towing mirrors on. I can make a video about that because we bought the reasonably priced towing mirrors from Amazon. We should have splurged and bought the actual OEM towing mirrors. But man, this rack, I'm so happy with this rack. I'm just tickled with myself. Nicholas is just rolling his eyes. But I will put my rack up against any modular storage system in any overland build that I've seen, all right? All right, so now we will go into the inside and I'll show you some cool stuff and we'll take it out and do some driving tests. And then like I said, if you want to see anything specific about the build or you want to talk about how much it costs or if I think it's a good value, just comment below and I will make a video about that specific subject. And the reason I'm willing to do that, you know, look, I'm 50 and I have been through a lot of old junky used cars in my life. That's how I know how to do stuff. You know, I know how to do what I know how to do around cars, right? And I know when to pay somebody else to do it. And so if my 50-year-old self can give you some advice on how to best spend your money, then I'd be glad to offer it. You don't have to take it, of course, but anything you want to know about this van build, I'm happy to talk about it because I've been consumed with it for about a year and a half. Now we've loaded into the van and we're going to head out and do our road testing. We're going to go up to our bypass and we're going to do 0 to 60, then we're going to turn around and we're going to do 60 to 0. Then we're going to get on the interstate and we're going to show how the van does going from 40 to 70, in other words, merging onto the interstate. And then we'll exit the interstate and we'll go down a little bit of a country road and we'll demonstrate how the van handles on curvy country roads. All right, Diddy, you ready?
Ready to go.
Dang, nice. All right, before we take off, I'll show you a little bit about the dash. This is the Alpine stereo that we installed. I forget the exact model, but I'll look that up if anybody wants to know. And then this is what's called an S-Pod, and it's got a whole bunch of upfitter switches, right? So it's got lights and the winch and onboard air and all kinds of stuff. And what I really like about these passenger vans is they have some really awesome, you can hear that AC kick on because, you know, like there's a lot of people usually sitting in here, and so all throughout the top of the van all the way back are lots of vents, so everybody can be super comfortable. Okay, so this is kind of the view from the front. And then we bought a passenger van because we wanted this 360 degree panoramic view. You can see my front yard there in the background. Very nice. You know, most people build it with the cargo vans, but listen, I really like to see out of the vehicle when I'm riding around. That's cool. And then down here, this is the actuator for the aux locker, and there is the engagement shaft for the transfer case that UJoint installed for us. All right, Diddy, let's get to testing. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, this is our 0 to 60 test. Nicholas Dennis is having a fit because I have my phone in front of him and he's kind of safety Sally-ish. All right, Diddy, getting ready? We're getting close. And there we go. Perfect. Now pull over, we'll do 60 to 0. Alrighty, I am placing our cones for our 60 to 0 test, and Nicholas is going to turn around and head up the bypass. He's going to get going 60 miles an hour, and then we're going to brake and see exactly how long it takes him to get to 0. All right, my buddy Joe just brought me these cones. I knew they would come in handy. Here comes Nicholas at 60 miles an hour. Now he's braking. Okay, I'm gonna take the cone up there and we'll pace it out. After a successful 60 to 0 braking, we're gonna pace it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 20, 30, 41, 42, not bad. I think I kind of lost count a little bit, but it looks like it took somewhere around 210 feet or so, 60 to 0. That's really not bad for a giant van, you know, that's as heavy as Nicholas's. One of the questions that we get all the time is how loud are the mud tires and how well does it ride on the interstate? Well, the answer to both of those things, maybe you can hear, did he turn the air conditioner off? So there is a, you know, there's a little bit of a noticeable hum when you're running mud tires. You know, I've got, let me see, I've got 4 vehicles that have mud tires on them and they all sound about the same. That hum is, I don't know how it's going to sound on the phone itself, but it's not too awful noticeable in the van if you're used to being in 4-wheel drives, you know, because we soundproofed the whole van. So it's all in all very quiet in here. The ride is very stable. Like a lot of times, you know, we'll have some kids back here and they fall asleep, you know, and that's kind of how I judge everything. You know, if you can sleep through it, it's really not too bad. So the other day we went rafting and canoeing, kayaking, whatever you want to call it, and took a whole bunch of kids, and by the end of the day, pretty much all of them were asleep. And you can see we're going with the traffic, and Diddy, how fast are you going there? 76. No problem holding 76. Now, when we get a little farther east and you know, the hills get a little bit bigger, then of course we have to slow down. Because if we don't slow down, this 5.4 motor gives us a lot of revs, and you know, it's kind of that's just not my thing. I don't like to ride in a vehicle that's running at high revs. All right, now we are going to exit the interstate, and I'll show you how this van handles the exit. So Nicholas is slowing down from 76. A little bit of a turn, and you can tell, you know, I mean, there's a teeniest little bit of, you know, roll to a van. We're going to come right over here and go left. Okay, very nice. Now, did he go on up here and then re-merge on the interstate? And let's show him how it merges. All right, we had to wait for a couple of cars, but now we're good to go. All right. So we just got off the interstate, and now we are going to get back on the interstate. And there's a white Explorer up there. Catch that white Explorer. Did I see how long it takes to catch a white Explorer? Ah. Of course. Use those brakes up. Okay, what kind of car is that?
That is a
Chevrolet. We just run right over that. Okay, so that's a Chevrolet Traverse. That'll give you guys some some comparison. Go up here and catch up with that Traverse, Diddy. Let's see how. Let's see if we can merge as well as the Chevy Traverse. Very nice. Okay. All right, now let's see if we can pass the Chevy Traverse. Uh-oh. The Chevy Traverse might be deciding that they don't want to be chased by a big giant white van. So where are we?
81.
We're at 81, and we're gonna call it into the chase because at 81 miles an hour we only get about 6 miles to the gallon. Now we are going to do the Curvy road test. So did he get up to country road speed here? We have a 35 mile an hour curve coming up. Do you think we can take it at 35 miles an hour?
I'm right around there right now.
Okay, so we're at 33. Let's see if we tip over. What was the speed, Diddy?
35.
35. So we just took one 35 mile an hour curve at 35 miles an hour, and we'll go up here and find another one. We have a 40 mile an hour curve coming up, and we'll see. Diddy, are we going to be able to take it at 40 miles an hour?
40 right now.
We're going 40 right now. Let's see. Now, right here, guys, I think this is more like a 35 mile an hour curve because right at the apex of that curve, it's kind of got a little bit of like an extra dip to it. Did we make it at, what did we make it?
We did it at 40.
We did it at 40. All right. So there you go. There's two curves. We did a 35 mile an hour curve at 35, and we did a 40 mile an hour curve at 40. So that lets you know that, you know, if you're going to operate a big van like this, as long as you stay within the safety guidelines of the State Road Department, you're going to do just fine. So now we're over on the farm where I do all my dog training. It's an awesome place, and we come out here and hang out all the time, have a good time, let the dogs run. And so we're going to talk about four-wheel drive now. Why do I have a four-wheel drive van? Well, let me tell you, you know, it's not like what a lot of people would think where I'm picking a van to specifically go off-roading because, you know, the vans, especially a passenger van, it doesn't have very good departure angles. It's got the, you know, the big passenger part hanging out of the, hanging so far over your rear axle that if you go down any kind of real incline, you're going to get hung up. So, like, why do I have big tires and low gears and locker and four-wheel drive? Well, I have it because the kind of places that we go, you know, most of the time they're pretty easy to get to in two-wheel drive, but sometimes we get just a little bit too far in two-wheel drive and we get a little bit stuck. So when I was a little kid, I knew an old man, he went fishing a lot down the bottom. And he drove a two-wheel drive Chevrolet S10. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever driven a small two-wheel drive truck, but they don't go very well, you know. Okay, Diddy, you can stop here for a second. So I asked him, I said, hey, you know, why don't you have a four-wheel drive? And he said, well, son, a four-wheel drive, all that does is it gets you stuck farther from the road. And I've always kept that lesson with me. So I'm going to get out of the van now And we're going to talk about my camera cut off for a second, so I'm not sure how far into that story I got. But basically what I was saying is the old man told me when I was a little kid that four-wheel drives do a good job of getting you stuck real far from the road. And so I've always kept that lesson in mind. And I do have, every vehicle I own is a four-wheel drive, but how we use four-wheel drive is we go however far we can go in two-wheel drive, and then if we get stuck, we use the four-wheel drive to get us out. We don't deliberately go looking for four-wheel drive areas unless we're doing recreational stuff. And then most of the time we're either on a four-wheeler or we're in a side-by-side. So let's take a look in this van and see what upgrades we got and why we got them. All right, so first off, what you'll notice here, this little lever right here, that is the actuator for what's called an aux locker. So that is a locking rear differential in the back, a cable actuated locking rear differential. Now this knob here is to activate traditional four-wheel drive. Okay, and you might say, Stoney, well, what do you need those things for? Don't just rock crawlers need lockers? No, I'll tell you how we think about it, okay? We got a locker in the back because most of the times that we are pulling a trailer, if we get kind of stuck a little bit, it's just because, like, see these ruts here? We'll get a little bit, kind of a tire in the air, just a bit, or like this kind of dirt here, when it rains, it just gets real slippery. And so we would lose traction, on one tire back there, but the vehicle thinks you're going. So, when you have what are called open differentials, the vehicle just sits there and spins. And so like on my Bronco, I installed an ARB, that's an air actuated locker. And whenever I have trouble, instead of having to get out, and see the thing with this, like the four-wheel drive system we're using is, let me show you for those of you not familiar. To engage the four-wheel drive system, we have to take this knob and we have to shift it. We can shift it into 4 high, which leaves the gear ratio the standard on the highway, or 4 low, which changes your gear ratio so you have more torque delivered to the wheels. But like on my Bronco or on this vehicle, we have manual locking hubs. And so what that means is that if I'm in a situation where I've lost traction in the rear and I engage the four-wheel drive, then I have to get out of the vehicle and manually engage these hubs. And you might say, well, Stoney, you could do that before you get off-road. Well, listen, guys, I go down country roads, 100 times a week. I can't be doing that all the time. So what we have found is that by just using a rear locker, let me come around here to the back and show you, see if we can see what we got here. Now I have an ARB in my Bronco, but these cable actuated lockers are really cool, and they come with a neat differential cover, right? But anyway, so if I'm on a boat dock, or if I'm pulling my four-wheeler or side-by-side trailer up a steep incline in a low traction environment, I can just reach down and actuate the locker, and then I get both tires turning in unison, okay? And I don't have to get out of the vehicle and engage the manual locking hubs. Now, if we're sometimes, like a couple weeks ago, it was raining a whole lot. So if we know like where we're going to go, it's going to be super muddy, then we'll go ahead, and as soon as we turn off the road, we'll lock our hubs in. And that's where, like, having a limited slip differential, okay, really helps. All right, so that's kind of our four-wheel drive system, and that's our overall philosophy towards using four-wheel drive. We use it when we need a little help. We don't go out actively looking for four-wheel drive activities in this particular vehicle or my work truck. Now my Bronco, it's pretty good off-road, and maybe I'll put some videos of that up, and I can show you what something with a little shorter wheelbase and a better approach and departure angles do. Now we're going to give you a real-life example of how we use four-wheel drive vehicles in our normal work life. And of course, this is going to translate right into Nicholas's adventure camping and stuff with his friends. Okay, Diddy, go ahead. Now Nicholas is going to kind of drive his van up through some ruts and into an off-camber position and show you guys, where we go. Now we have, a relative amount of ground clearance. It's pretty good. We have good-sized tires. They have a lot of grip on them. And but we're staying in two-wheel drive because we only go as far as the two-wheel drive will take us, and then we use the four-wheel drive to get us back to where we need to be, right? Okay, so you see the van goes really well, but if Nicholas was to lose traction, then he has the option to engage the rear locker or to engage the whole four-wheel drive traditional system. But he would have to get out and lock his hubs, or we would have locked the hubs before he actually left the road. This is our last test of the day, and I almost forgot. But for sure, guys, if you're thinking about getting a big old long van, you need to understand what the turning radius is going to end up looking like. So we're going to back up and watch Nicholas turn a complete circle. So he's going to start at that cone, and then he's going to end up at the cone, and we're going to see how big a circle that he has to make. Full lock, did he? Turn it all the way. Oh, he's going to use a gallon of gas turning that circle. There you go, pull right to the same spot. Now, we should have measured that if we were going to be real scientific, but I think you guys get the point. Basically, if you plan on turning this bad boy around, you just need to get really good at doing three-point turns, because it takes about 1.5 miles to turn it in a circle. And just like that, Nicholas is off for his last year at the U.S. Military Academy. Bye, Diddy. Be careful. I love you.